Good afternoon, good morning, good day, family. Welcome in and welcome back to the Peace Be Upon You broadcast. I am your host, Keenan Hill. It is a pleasure to be back for another week. And in today's broadcast, I want to discuss something that really hits home with any and everybody, I'm sure. And we'll be discussing how to combat weak faith. This could be if you're in a position right now where you feel like you're losing your faith, you're having a hard time believing in that mission that kept you going and kept you driven for so long. You're doubting your purpose, you're doubting your beliefs, you're doubting the direction that God has called you to follow and the path that you're on. This episode is for you. Something that really ignited this for me is just being in a place sometimes where you feel kind of numb or melancholy about some of the things that you do from day to day, your activities, praying, talking to God, doing good deeds. And sometimes it just doesn't feel like you're doing enough. Even when you are doing things or you have been doing good things or positive things for such a long time, and you just kind of stop feeling the way that you felt initially when you first joined the faith or when you first had your calling or when you initially got started doing that motivating or that purpose built and based thing that God called you to do. You start feeling like what is the purpose of this all now? You know, I've been maybe a couple months in, a couple years in, and I just don't have that spark in me that I had when I first got started in doing this thing, or when I first joined this journey. So if that is a feeling that you've been feeling lately, if you've been down and out, confused, you're not sure what direction to go in, this is the episode for you. Weak faith is something that any and everybody goes through. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's not something to be scared to tell your friends or your spouse, your partner, anything about. This is something that you should share openly, because when you share openly, as I'll get into here shortly, and you're able to be honest, you can relate to those around you and find ways to combat your weak faith together potentially. So let me hop right in. I have 3 ways here to combat weak faith, things that have helped me tremendously well in my past. And I'm confident that if you apply these things daily and you're disciplined about the way that you implement these 3 tools into your life, then you can completely change your mind frame and change the way that you view this season of your life. So, number 1, prayer. Hear me out now, y'all. Don't just pray to increase your faith, though. Pray to increase your good deeds. Sometimes we get in these positions where we feel our faith kind of weakening. We're not sure where to go or where to turn. And you're like, man, but I pray every day. Or man, like I do my salah every day. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. That's good, right? But what are you praying for? What is your mind on when you're in the midst of prayer? Like, is your mind on, oh God, I wish you would increase my faith. I just want something. Can you do something for me? Don't ask Allah to do something for you. Ask Allah what you can do for others and to glorify Him. When we put ourselves first, after so long, and we stop looking out and we start looking in at what we can get or what we can receive from doing certain things, that's the moment our faith starts deteriorating. Because we have to remember that giving and doing and being in a position to do more for others is a cornerstone of faith itself. So that is the tool, the first tool that you can use to help combat weak faith. Let me jump into number 2, which is probably my favorite one, or the one that I've noticed that has created the most change in my mindset when I'm in this position of weak faith. And that's self-affirmation. So there's times when we're in a position and we're not sure what to do. you feel like you haven't really made any progress up to that point. And the first thing we usually do is talk down to ourselves and not big ourselves up. So with self-affirmation, it has a meditation aspect to it, or a self-reflection aspect to it. And this tool can help you when you're in times of doubt, you're not sure, and when you're at the point where you're so far into feeling lost or trapped that you don't necessarily see a common way out. And there's nothing wrong with this, but if you try this tool here, which is reflect on 3 good things that have helped you made progress to become who you are and to bring you to the place that you're at right now. If you can meditate and reflect on 3 positive things instead of reflecting on the multitude of negative things that you're feeling, this can just do incredible things for your mindset, especially when you continuously try this method. You're doing it day after day, and you're making sure that everything that you're doing is intentional, and everything that you're saying to yourself is positive and intentional. This can do tremendous things for your mindset and make a big difference when you're in a position of weak faith. I'll give you a personal example. Sometimes I feel like I'm not doing enough. Like maybe some of the deeds that I'm doing aren't as big as I would want them to be. Or some of, my interactions with others aren't to the level that I feel like they should be, or I can be in a bigger position or doing greater things, right? And I feel like sometimes that's what the devil uses to keep you in a position of stagnation. He doesn't want you to grow. He doesn't want you to see the gifts and the tools that Allah has blessed you with, that sometimes you just have to work a little more diligently to unlock and receive. He doesn't want you to do that. So he wants to keep you in a position of self-doubt. And when you're in this position of self-doubt, you weaken your faith and you don't see a way to grow out of the current situation that you're in. So for me in particular, when I'm in a place of weak faith, or I feel like I should or could be doing more, I reflect, I sit down, I breathe, I relax, and I think about the places that I used to be in, or where I was 3 to 5 years ago. And I see all the wonderful things that God has done to bring me here to this point that I'm at right now. I sit and reflect on 3 positive things that I've done throughout the week or throughout the last couple of months that really not only put a smile on my face, but if they were good enough deeds, put a smile on the faces of the people that I was helping or that God sent me to assist or bless. So as that personal example suggests, self-affirmation can do incredible things, you guys, with the right and the proper application, and with the discipline and the determination to keep going in the midst of all of those hard things. So, next tip and tool number 3, spend time with your friends and your peers of faith. This one has helped me tremendously too. I have some incredible friends around me, man, that I met when I first got introduced to Islam. And I mean, these guys, they know who they are if they're listening now. Incredible people. And I know how difficult it can be if you're new to a faith or you feel really isolated in your faith, to feel as if these problems are just my own. But until you get to a point where you're comfortable enough to share these things with other people, you'll never know that a lot of them struggle with the same things that you are too. Society has us in a position where we have to feel typecast to the things that we're struggling with. Or no, it's just me. I'm the only one going through this because I don't see anybody on social media going through this. Or I don't see anybody else expressing these things on, on the reels on their story or their highlight reels. And that's cool. You're never going to see that. You don't even express those things and the pains and the pitfalls, the ups and downs that you're going through on yours. You can't expect other people to do that on theirs. But if you take it to a personal level and you look around you to your peers and your friends who are cut from that same cloth that God cut you from and are going in a positive direction or on the same things that you're on, then you look around and you see that these people are very similar to you. God put them in your life for a reason. So reach out to your closest friends of faith and ask them these questions. 90% of the times they've either struggled with the same thing you're struggling with, or they're going through it currently. And the beautiful thing about them going through it, if they are going through it in the present moment, is that you guys can help guide each other out of those dark times. You guys can use your similarities and the tools that you've been, implementing to help yourself get out, and the progress that you've made to help each other mutually. And then you both grow. Then God blesses you both with abundance. So spend time with your friends of faith and just see what you guys have in common. Use what y'all have in common to help each other make positive progress. And that's my third tool that's helped me tremendously combat times of weak faith. Now, tool number 4. Thank God that you still have faith left in you guys. This one is so important. And simply because if you feel like you're in a place of weak faith, sometimes you just have to be grateful that you still even have some faith left in your spirit. Like, we take the smallest things for granted sometimes, me included 1,000%. So if we're ever in a situation where we feel like we're in a position to just be grateful and appreciative for any inkling of faith that we still have left in our bodies and our souls, and we're able to just continue giving and continue praying and giving thanks, do it any chance that you have and any chance that you get, because you never know what God can utilize that smallest amount of faith in you for. It can still be used to do some incredible things. You just have to maintain that faith and thank God that you even have some form of it left in your spirit. So that wraps up today's episode of how to combat weak faith. You guys let me know down in the comments. Reach out to me and let me know how these tips have helped when you do implement them. Let me know if you have any tips or tools that you use yourself. Like I said, this is so common. Like almost any and everybody that I speak to that's of a faith, it doesn't matter what faith you subscribe to. We have moments where we feel like we're in a position of weakness or weak faith, or we're having a hard time maintaining these beliefs because we've been so accustomed to executing these beliefs a certain way for such a long period of time. But it doesn't make you imperfect. It doesn't make you, cruel, wicked, weak, evil, whatever. Everybody goes through these things. And I wanted to make this video today to let you know that I'm no different, and neither is nobody else around you. So continue your worship. Continue doing what makes you feel good. Continue to keep your faith in something. I'm a firm believer that somebody who stands for nothing falls for everything. So continue to maintain your faith, pray, give yourself those positive self-affirmations, spend time with friends of faith and of a strong belief. And man, thank God that you still have something, because it could be worse. You could have nothing at all. I will see you guys on next week's episode. Thanks again for tuning in. I am your host, Keenan Hill, and may peace be upon you all. See you next week. Bye-bye.